there was actually a class, and Dravida Prabhu probably knows this devotee, Jagadish Prabhu. He was our GBC at the time. And he fell asleep giving class. He sound asleep on the Vyasasana. It was actually kind of blissful. He said, Krishna is the supreme. And he was down. He was down for about 5 minutes. And then he came back up and said, personality of Godhead, and went right on. I still think it's a bit loud, but I don't want to trouble you. But what do you think, Balaram? Does it matter? I think it's a little loud. I don't want to intimidate you guys. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna? Krishna, I think it's just the same, but anyway, let's roll. I'll keep the microphone at 20 feet. And I had a friend who went to visit the devotees in Tallahassee. He was at University of Florida. And Dravida Prabhu probably knows this devotee too, Janmanjaya. And he sent me a postcard afterwards. Because I was living in the temple already by then. I was super enthusiastic and told him, check it. That's where the men sit. Ladies are over here. Thanks. So I had he sent me a postcard, and I said, how did the morning class go? He said, oh, it was very interesting. He said, but at one point, those great souls left me far behind. And I thought, I wonder what that means, And I checked, and what had happened is it was a small temple. There were 3 or 4 devotees sitting in the audience, and my friend, and the devotee speaking. And the devotees in the audience fell asleep, and the speaker fell asleep. And my friend was the only one awake. He was and he thought they must have hit some subliminal passage or something, and they all just took off in their astral bodies or whatever and had left. That's what he meant when he said, those great souls left me far behind. And Hridayananda Maharaj, they told me that the first time he spent the night at the temple, thank you, Janardanji, that he thought the devotees were self-realized. And on one hand, Prabhupada said there's different degrees of pure devotees. So the devotees were amazingly surrendered in those days. So he was just following the whole thing, and just following the whole morning program. For a college kid, getting up at 3:30 in the morning, and the whole thing was amazing. And they went through the whole morning program, cleaned the temple, and they all went out on Harinam. And when they went out on Harinam in the van, one by one, and he thought, just see that they're in the van, and there's no immediate service that needs to be done, so they've just gone into trance. It's like they, rather than waste a moment, they just shut down their externals and have gone. And then he said, then one devotee, he said, hey, wait a minute, they're all asleep. He said it was one of many eye-openers from his naive understanding of Krishna consciousness. So I hope that I don't fall asleep. So you got to help me out. Well, if you notice me snoring, you can give me a nudge. That would help. If I feel some energy, some attentiveness from the audience, that'll help. We had in Los Angeles, at the old temple on La Cienega, for Bhagavatam class, because devotees everybody would fall asleep. When Prabhupada first introduced Guru Puja, the temple president in Detroit, Govardhan Prabhu, who I can never repay, it was a wood floor. So he would stand by the Vyasasana, because when devotees would offer dandavats, they wouldn't get up. They'd fall asleep. And so he'd boom on the floor, and then you'd see the devotee wake up. That was because we'd lose so many devotees would fall asleep that he'd sit, Anyway, those were the good old days. So in Los Angeles, to keep everybody awake, Gargamuni got a squirt gun. One of those pump squirt guns. I mean, it had a good range, But it became too distracting because you'd watch devotees fall asleep and then you'd watch Gargamuni. No one was listening to class. They were watching Gargamuni pick off the sleeping devotees. So we've come a long way, Prabhus. Prabhupada came. I'll finish now. We have the clock. Prabhupada came to Detroit, and in defense of the devotees, he was supposed to go to Dallas first. Then there was the chance, which bore fruit, to get the Devasadan Mandir, the Detroit temple. So Prabhupada changed his schedule, and we thought he was going to come in 10 days. All of a sudden, he was coming in 3 days. So you can imagine all the projects that the devotees, to clean up the temple and make everything nice. So to get what was calculated to be 10 days packed into 3 days, practically nobody slept. And there was 3 Radha Damodar buses there, Vishnujan Maharaj, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Adi Keshava. I don't know if he was a sannyasi yet, but there was and each bus had about 15 brahmacharis. So, and then devotees, so there's probably around 400 devotees in the temple room, 5 or 6 sannyasis. Everybody fell asleep. Everybody. I would have been asleep, but I was in the kitchen, so I was moving, And I had something in the oven. I had a few minutes, so I just wanted to see Prabhupada on the Vyasasan. So I went upstairs, and he was speaking from Chaitanya Charitamrita, because the Bhagavatam was out, of course, but the Chaitanya Charitamrita had just come out, so he was sharing it with us. So, and I've got to find the verse. But Prabhupada was saying, he was talking about the causeless mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he said it's like a poor man doesn't become rich unless something extraordinary happens. He gets an inheritance, he's walking, these are Prabhupada's examples. He gets an inheritance, he's walking down the road and he finds a bag of gold or something out of the ordinary, something extraordinary has to happen. And then Prabhupada said, in the same way, this movement is going on by the mercy of Krishna alone. And then he looked out over his glasses at everybody asleep and chuckled to himself and said, that is a fact. It was really sweet, It was like full of affection, but also resignation. Well, Krishna, this is what you've given to me. It's what I got to work with, so. Prabhupada actually said that Lord Ram conquered Lanka. I was sitting there in New Vrindavan. Lord Ram conquered Lanka with monkey soldiers, and I am working with monkey disciples. What do you do? I said, well, he's got a point, Jaya Radho Madhava Kunja Bihari. Now, peppy, because I got to stay awake. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Balaba Jivanadadi. Gopijana Balaba Jivanadadi. Jasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana. Jasoda Nandana Brajana Ranjana. Jamurti Ravanatari.
Chamunti Ravanatari Tiravana Jeraro Marava Indavihari Kopechana Balava Jivanadari Japsurnandana Vijayana Ranjana Chamunti Ravanatari Javana Tiravana Jeraro Marava Indavihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariva Jukacharya Sita Deshisham His Divine Grace Abhaicharan Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON DVT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Karavaisha Binda Ki Nam Char Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Dwarka Dham Ki Navadip Dham Ki Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Ganga Mai Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Sambhita Bhaktivinda Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Sri Radha Ki Ki Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to divine Lord Sita Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Sudamo Bhagate Dhammaganadi Bisaha Kalana Sadasham Misha Purana Kodinodita Narayana Namaskritchananam Shaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mukdirayat. The Bhagavatam is as brilliant as the sun. It has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who've lost their vision to the dense darkness of the age of Kali shall get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the srimadbhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, we should first offer respects to the personality of God in Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of learning, Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Where is our guest? Our guest from Argentina. Bhakti Ed! Back from the dead. And you don't look well fed. You look a little thin. Are you okay in that chair? Okay. Well, that's interesting. Hare Krishna. Well, let's sally forth. Tvam Nitya Mukta Parisuddha Vibhuddha Atma Kuta Sta Adi Purusho Bhagavangs Chi Adisha Yad Buri Avistitim Akanditaya Swa Jistya Drasta Stitav Arimako Vyatirikta Ase Tvam Nitya nitya mukta parishura vibhuda atma.
Nitya-mukta parishuddha vibhuddha atma.
Kutasta adi purusho bhagavan striyadishaha.
Tasta adi purusho bhagavan sraishaha.
Yad buddhi avishtitim akanditaya svadristya. Jastasti stitav adimako vyatitiriktase. Tvam nitya mukta parishura vibhuda atma. Kutasta adi purusho bhagavan striyadishaha. Yad buddhi avishtitim akanditaya svadristya. Jastastatavadimako vyatitiriktase. Tvam nityamukha parishura vibhuda atma. Kutasta adi purusho bhagavan striyadishaha. Yad buddhi avishtitim akanditaya svadristya. Jastastitavadimako vyatirikta ase.
Nitya-mukta parishuddha vibhuddha atma.
Kutasta adi purusho bhagavan stradishaha.
Kutasta adi purusho bhagavan sraishaha.
Yad buddhyavastiti makanditaya swadrishtya.
Yad buddhyavastiti makanditaya swadrishtya.
Drashtastitavadhimuko pratirikta ase.
Drashtastitavyadhimako vyatirikta ase.
Did I say something? We had two people bail out.
Tvam nitya-mukta parishuddha vibhuddha atma.
Tvam nitya mukta parishura vibhuda atma.
Kutasta adi purusho bhagavan sraishaha.
Kutasta adi purusho bhagavan striyadishaha.
Yad buddhyavastitam akanditaya svadristya.
Yad buddhi avishtitam akanditaya svadristya.
Rastastitavyadhimako vyatirikta ase.
Jastastitavadimako vyatiriktinase. Tvam nitya mukta parishura vibhuda atma. Kutasta adi purusho bhagavan striyadishaha. Yad buddhi avishtitim akanditaya svadristya. Drastastitava adimako vyatitiriktha ase. Vaishnavis? No, they're going to do it. Tam nitya mukta parishura vibhuda atma. Kutastva adi purusho bhagavan striyadishaha. Yad buddhi vishtiti makanditaya svadristya. Jastastitavadimako vyatitirikta ase. You want to try Mataji or no?
Yes.
No, behind you.
Tvam nitya mukta parishura vibhuratma. Kutastra adi purusho bhagavam striyadishaha. Yad burya vishtitim akandita yasvadristya. Justasti tava imako vyatirikta ase. Do you want to try? You can if you want. I don't want to put you on the spot. All right, we'll let it slide. Tvam, you, nitya, eternally, mukta, liberated, parishuddha, uncontaminated, vibhuda, full of knowledge, atma, the supreme soul, kutastha, changeless, adi, original, purusha, person, bhagavan, the Lord full with six opulences, triyadisha, master of the three modes, yat, whence, buddhi, of intellectual activities, avishtitam, all stages, akinditatya, unbroken, swadristya, by transcendental vision, drasta, you witness, stitau, for maintaining the universe, adimaka, enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices, vyatarikta, differently, ase, you are situated. Translation, who's speaking? Dhruva. And who's he speaking to? Lord Vishnu. And where are they? In the forest. And after 6 months of austerity, and how old is Dhruva Maharaj? 5 or so. And Lord Vishnu has appeared before him in the forest within 6 months only. What was the impetus for Lord Vishnu to appear? Who was appealing in addition to Dhruva Maharaj's prayers? Who else said, hey, you better take care of this? Why? Yeah, because in suspending his breath, the whole universe was suffocating. So that's just to set the scene. So this is Dhruva Maharaj speaking. And Dhruva Maharaj previously was so stunned he couldn't speak. Other than Dravida, what happened? What was the impetus for him speaking? He was touched by Lord Vishnu's conch, which means that if we simply sincerely endeavor, Krishna will give the power. What are the odds of a 65-year-old man from a foreign country, as Prabhupada would say himself, with 1 hour spending money, Prabhupada used to say sometimes, poverty-stricken. Huh? And that's stretching. No, Shanti. That's stretching it. So, and yet, the slogan at the time was dogs run free, so why can't we? Of course, the logical answer is, well, you're not a dog, and that's probably the main reason right there. But what was, I'm trying to think of Hayagriva's mantra, but it was like free sex, drugs, don't trust anybody over 30. I mean, how many things are wrong in this picture? But empowered by Krishna, due to his purity, Prabhupada rocked the whole world. It's just like, it's inconceivable. Okay, so Dhruva Maharaj was empowered by so that means that we just have to try sincerely, and Krishna will do the rest. Purport. An atheistic argument against the supremacy of this... Oh, sorry about that. Told you I was half asleep. My Lord, by your unbroken transcendental glance, you are the supreme witness of all stages of intellectual activity. You're eternally liberated. Your existence is situated in pure goodness,
and you are existent in the Supersoul without change. You are the original personality of Godhead, full with 6 opulences, and you are eternally the master of the 3 modes of material nature. Thus, you are always different from the ordinary living entities. As Lord Vishnu, you maintain all the affairs of the entire universe, and yet you stand aloof, and you are the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. Okay, Prabhupada's purport. Thank you, Dravida. An atheistic argument against the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead states that if God, the Supreme Person, appears and disappears, sleeps and awakens, we could say eats, so many different things, then what is the difference between God and the living entity? Dhruva Maharaj is carefully distinguishing the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from that of the living entities. I'm the one who's tired, not you. The Lord is eternally liberated. Whenever he appears, even within this material world, he is never entangled by the 3 modes of material nature. Here he is known, therefore, as Triyadisha, the master of the 3 modes of material nature. In Bhagavad Gita 7.14, it is said, Daivihi esha gunamayi mamamaya daratyaya. The living entities are all entangled in the 3 modes of material nature. The external energy of the Lord is very strong, but the Lord, as the master of the 3 modes of material nature, is ever liberated. That was an interesting sound, and I lost my place. Is ever liberated from the action and reaction of these modes. He, therefore, is uncontaminated, as stated in Sri Upanishad. The contamination of the material world does not affect the Supreme Godhead, Krishna. Does not affect the Supreme Godhead. Krishna, therefore, says in Bhagavad Gita that those who are rascals and fools think of him as an ordinary human being, not knowing his parambhavam. Parambhavam refers to his being always transcendently situated. Material contamination cannot affect him. Another difference between the Lord and the living entity is that the living entity is always in darkness. Even though he may be situated in the mode of goodness, there are still so many things that are unknown to him. But it is not the same for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knows past, present, and future, and everything that is happening in everyone's heart. Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Vedaham samititani. The Lord is not part of the soul. He is the unchangeable Supreme Soul, and the living entities are his parts and parcels. The living entity is forced to appear in the material world. Where was I? No, I'll find it. The living entity is forced to appear in the material world under the directions of Daivi Maya. But when the Lord appears, he comes by his own internal potency, Atma Maya. Besides that, the living entity is within the time of past, present, and future. His life has a beginning, a birth, and in the conditioned state of life ends with death. But the Lord is Adipurusha, the original person. In Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma offers his respects to the Adipurusha Govinda, the original person, who has no beginning, whereas the creation of the material world has a beginning. Vedanta Sutra says, Janmadasa yataha. Everything is born from the Supreme, but the Supreme has no birth. He has all 6 opulences in full and beyond comparison. He is the master of the material nature. His intelligence is not broken under any circumstances, and he stands aloof, although he's the maintainer of the whole creation. As stated in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad, Nitya Nityanam Chaitanish Chaitananam, the Lord is the supreme maintainer. Living entities are meant to serve him by offering sacrifices, for he is the rightful enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. Everyone, therefore, should engage himself in devotional service of the Lord with his life, his riches, his intelligence, and his word. This is the original constitutional position of the living entity. One should never compare the sleeping of the ordinary living entity to the sleeping of the Supreme Personality of Godhead on the causal ocean. Anybody here emanate unlimited universes when they're lying down? We emanate nasty odor, but other than that, shanti. Questions, if you don't mind, questions afterwards. This is the system we have here. I appreciate your enthusiasm, though. There is no stage at which the living entity can compare to the Supreme Person. The Mayavad philosophers, being unable to adjust to all of this, come to the conclusion of impersonalism or void. Om Gena Tamarandasya Gyana Gena Salakaya Jakshushri Militan Gena Tazareshi Gurave Namaha. So, I'm looking at the time factor, which we have 8 minutes left. Well, we'll go over time. I never bought this 45 minutes for class myself, which winds up being a half hour. So people say God is great. Okay. But how is he great? They really don't have much of an answer when you come to it. And people, they'll say, well, Krishna's not how you say Krishna's God, you know. Well, do you have a better description? You know, if I say, well, this is Jagannath Tirtha. You say, no, it isn't. I say, well, do you know what he, I mean, it looks like Jagannath Tirtha to me. Do you have a better, well, I don't really, do you know what he looks like? No. Do you know what he's wearing? No. Do you know how tall he is? No. You know what he weighs? No. You know what his smile looks like? No. You know what color his eyes are? No. But that's not Jagannath Tirtha. On what basis? So, fine. Please give me a better description of God than Krishna, and I will surrender to that better person, that better concept. But they can't. And the idea that God is simply Purnam, as it Prabhupada mentions Sri Upanishad here, but in a different context, I think he's talking about how God is a Papa Vidyam, pure and antiseptic, in context of the purport. But when we say God is Purnam, what does Purnam mean? Anyone know? Complete or no, you got to hold on. I swear to you, you got to hold on. Purnam means full, means complete, containing everything. Can I come with a bucket of water and say it's full and it's half full? I mean, it's simple logic. Can I come with hey, I got a dozen donuts, but there's only 6? Hey, how is it full? I'm thinking of Ratnabhushan's donuts, by the way, which I missed out on. Full, means complete, means everything, containing all. So we all have forms, we all have fun, and God is simply dry and sterile and inactive, void. Prabhupada said about the universal form, where will you hang the garland? You know? I mean, Krishna comes, Prabhupada says in one purport, he comes just suitable so that you can handle him. And Prabhupada's talking about how, we can dress Krishna, nice garland, flute, we can cook for Krishna, so many things. So, how God is full. And also, because we have so little time, it's talking about Krishna being aloof. That doesn't mean dispassionate, unconcerned. But it means, think about it. What do you call, anybody here, and I've used this example before, but it's serviceable. Anyone here ever have an ant farm when they were growing up? You know what an ant farm is? It's a little case with sand and the ants make their little house in it. I mean, it kept my interest about 10 minutes. I don't know about the rest of you. An aquarium, okay, fine, the fish are pretty, but, how long can you stay there focused on the aquarium, What do you call someone who's spends their whole time looking in other people's windows at night? Yeah, they're a voyeur. They're enjoying vicariously through others. And you find someone looking in your window all the time, it's spooky. You call the police, isn't it? Somebody who just hangs out, they're a wallflower, they just in the corner of the room and just watching everybody else. It's a psychological neurosis. Not necessarily psychosis, but it's a neurosis. And God's only business is he's up in the clouds just watching us. Doesn't do anything. how is that Purnam? How is that complete? But the material world is going on by a portion of a portion of a portion of a portion. And what is Krishna doing? Prabhupada says, you never see Krishna old. You never see Krishna working a machine. Prabhupada says in one tape, you never see Krishna smoking a cigarette. He's simply dancing. He's simply enjoying. That's Purnam. He has his form, he has his pastimes, and as we were reading yesterday, it should be amazing. Should God just be plain vanilla, like the rest of us? I mean, you see those Christian tracts, especially the Jehovah's Witness, and Jesus is like a backyard, barbecue. He's walking around in a leisure suit with a soda. That's heaven? It should blow the mind. It should be inconceivable. I don't understand. Oh, okay. I'll throw out all the words of the Vedas. I'll throw out the Bhagavatam because your Kali Yuga pea brain, full of garbage. Prabhupada says, someone said brainwashing. Prabhupada said, actually get a brain, then we'll wash it. I was there. And the man said, I have a brain. Prabhupada said, if you have a brain, it is cow dung. I mean, that was it, man. That guy had nothing more to say. Because he was, arguing so many stupid things. And so with their little cow brain, Kali Yuga, cow dung brain, well, I don't understand. Well, how did Krishna 16,108 wives? It should be absolutely conceivable. That makes sense. The fact that it's inconceivable is confirmation that it's logical with the principle that God is unlimitedly powerful and is full, is complete. So when it means aloof, it doesn't mean detached or like the deists. I think they're deists. I think George Washington was a deist. Which means that God is a clockmaker. And he wound up the world and established the laws of physics, and then he's gone. Doesn't interfere at all. We're on our own. Good luck, my friends. But that's not, that's not what aloof means. Aloof means that he has his own independent reality. It also means he's not dependent on any of the results. We're all dependent on what happens here. Prabhupada said, although what I was going to say is that Krishna doesn't come, and this is true. Krishna doesn't come because he's missing a few servants. He needs someone to help him herd the cows, so he's got to come here and grab a few of us. Like Santa with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He's got, he's missing one, so he's got to... Well, that's unpleasant. How do we shut it off? Yeah, it's the first time it's ever done that to me. We have a sedition going on here. Time for breakfast. So Krishna's not... He's aloof from this world. He's not dependent on anything in the material nature. He doesn't come here. Although, to counter that, when Prabhupada installed the deities, Radha Paris Ishwara, Radha Krishna Paris, he's a sannyasi and a complete transcendentalist. And Prabhupada says, all over the world, French women are famous for being beautiful. And then Prabhupada said, Krishna's come to get some French gopis. I mean, only Prabhupada would, but Krishna, so on one hand, Krishna doesn't come, but so here is, I'd like to give class again because there's so many nice analogies on this. But here, Prabhupada chanted Jai Radha Madhava one time. So many times. But at this particular time, he chanted Jai Radha Madhava and he finished. And he said, they say that God is dead, or that God is void, or that God is formless. And Prabhupada said, here in this song, we know his name, we know his phone number, we know his address, we know his parents. That's one of the reasons Prabhupada liked to sing that song, because there it is, Vrindavan, and he's playing on the Jamuna, and he's got Mother Yasoda and the gopis. The whole thing is explained there. So, God is great, but how is he great? And intelligent people want to know. And that we will find in the Bhagavatam. So we should end there, although there is so much more to say. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
I wanted to say.
Take it away.
Okay.
No. Say what you were going to say.
Okay, sure. I was wanting to say that there are many religions: Christianity, Islam, and Hindu, Krishna.
Okay, what's the point?
So the God is same.
Okay. Good for you. Thank you. However, there is first grade, second grade, third grade. There's a pocket dictionary, and there is a Webster's unabridged. No, because people like to say, oh, there's one God, it's all the same. Okay, fine, great, that's true. But they just use it as, yeah, there's some people that are all saying the same thing. On one hand, it's true. On the other hand, it's not saying the same thing. They're singing, when I go to heaven, going to see them pearly gates. When I go to heaven, going to eat them chops and steaks. So we're not saying the same thing on one hand. On one hand, this is a Chinta Veda Veda Tattva. It's throughout our philosophy. On one hand, it's the same. We are saying the same thing. On one hand, what we're saying. On the other hand, what we're saying is profoundly different. But thank you for that pearl of wisdom.